Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another Rage video. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the ending to Metallica's 72 seasons. I feel kind of sad that, yes, this journey has come to an end, but I'm also I didn't regret a single moment I had doing this. I love this album. You know, and again, just to reiterate where we were left off last time, I described this album so far, once I finished Rumor Mirrors, I said that this was the Pink Floyd's The Wall if it was written by Metallica. And that's something I'm sticking to, like, even right now, possibly even after after Inamorata is finished. And because when you think about it, the beats are very similar. A lot of it is about confiding and about overcoming a lot of struggles that people face in the early years, from understanding where they belong in the world, from neglect to abuse, to finding hope, from losing hope, from knowing where to go, from being confined almost into a state of like seclusion, turning to yourself for answers, knowing what to do, what not to do. And maybe in Inamorata, we're going to find out if there's any real conclusion. Like, what does this all lead to? Does the struggle just continue? I mean, we heard about this in Gone Too Far, is that sometimes your thoughts can only go as far as the next day when people are in fairly dire situations. But what we want to do now, ladies and gentlemen, and you might be delighted to know, is that, like I said before, I think this entire album could stack up with the very best of them. And now, Metallica have also brought something that is a callback to a lot of the early works. Now, you may remember that actually Metallica, something they quite like to do is they like to end each album off with something of a bang. They like to make really long songs to end off with, like The Call of Cthulhu, To Live Is to Die. Yes, I know To Live Is to Die isn't technically the last song on And Justice for All, but let's face it, that was just about the most perfect way to end that album anyway. Is one thing in that, but To Live Is to Die is the better one by quite a long way. And also Fixer. And Fixer is perhaps the most underrated Metallica song ever made, apart from maybe My Apocalypse. And can I just say as well, ladies and gentlemen, My Apocalypse is only underrated because I've basically heard nobody talk about it. And I think it's the best song on Death Magnetic. Might be another controversial opinion, because there's some good things on Death Magnetic for the most part. But we're talking about 72 seasons, and 4 seasons later, ladies and gentlemen, let's see how this just stacks up, because I have no idea where this is going to go or where this is going to turn. So let's go with this together, shall we? So here we go.
quiet every thought. That familiar pain she brought seeps inside eventually. Misery loves company. So then I created you. I suppose that I could end you too. She waits. She waits. Misery, she needs me. Oh, but I need her more. Misery, she loves me. Oh, but I love her more. Misery, she kills me. Ooh, but I end this war. Misery, she fills me. Oh no, but she's not what I'm living for. Oh no. She needs me, but I need her more. She loves me, but I love her more. She kills me, but I end this war. She fills me, but she's not what I'm living for.
best one. That button was the best one.
The best button.
Starting to get the impression about, well, that certainly could probably tell you a lot about what they thought of it. Perhaps because, again, even though this is still ongoing and I'm like trying to like find a suitable moment to pause, and there's still 10 more seconds, sorry. I want to give these people their dues because absolutely this song deserves every single aspect of it, from its written, its production value, the directors, the animators. Everybody is getting their fills here. Everybody's going to go home happy. So that was in a Inamorata, and it's actually, I think it is true. Actually, the more I think about it, is that I think this is the longest song, studio song that Metallica have actually ever done, because Fixer didn't go beyond 10 minutes, and Justice for All didn't go beyond 10 minutes. Call of Cthulhu was about 10 minutes, 12 seconds, I think. So, yeah, technically, this is literally the longest song Metallica have ever done. And even at this stage in their careers, this is fantastic. Yeah, it is, literally. And I think what's fantastic is that I've spoke quite a lot about this song, about this album, about being sort of a pseudo-concept album about a young man who is just suffering and just trying to find what his place in the world is through a series of unfortunate events. And Inamorata is sort of a culmination of quite a lot of very different things. Is it... And again, there are several things. Is it a story about somebody's lost who's fallen out of love? It just might be. But then there was also something, a very, very interesting idea, is that how many of you guys remember the Beatles song Misery? The one that begins with, "The world is treating me bad, misery. Dun, 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 dun. I'm the kind of guy who never used to cry. The world is treating me bad, misery. Dun, 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 dun. I remember all the little things we've done. Dun, 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 dun. So, okay, the reason I mention all of this is that Misery is like, I think is like a big component of this song, and Misery is wandering away from society. It's wandering away from the real world and being completely by yourself, and unfortunately being thrown literally to the elements, just so you don't have to face anybody, so that the only person you can interact with is yourself, and whatever results of it, whether it's a system of therapy, a system of trying to understand what's going on and how long you stay there, could be something else entirely. Like we saw that coyote dying in the wild, all those vultures who are circling the corpse of the coyote, or even just going to the brink of lunacy to believing that there is like glimpses of hope in that mirage about whether or not you truly feel that there is any sort of hope lurking out there in the world, until you make the mistake and you're swallowed up again. And that's the thing. Any semblance of hope that seems to arise from our hero's journey seems to be almost consumed in the fact that every decision he makes by choosing to throw himself into the wilderness has resulted and come back to bite him on the backside, because misery is what happens when somebody who is forced by perhaps somebody else's hand into a downward spiral of thought that is only ever culminated or even allowed to rest at the moment when misery ends and something else begins. Whether it's death, whether it's even a new beginning. Which is why I think it was pseudo very interesting about how this video was like playing out, and how the woman comes from seemingly out of nowhere and comes to almost take our guy literally out of the wilderness. Is that what this was all about? Was this about our hero's journey coming to an end? Because probably for the first time in this album, we've finally encountered another character who is willing to meet our hero halfway and actually escort him back to the real world. At least maybe not to the real world, but maybe out of this state of misery. In fact, actually, I'll go even one further. Well, something you may hear of a lot during this video. You know how Metallica, they were based in California? But what if that place they're in, what if it was Soledad? I know that Soledad is not a desert, but I know it is a place in California. And Soledad is Spanish for lonely place. And for anybody who's ever read of Mice and Men, will pick upon the similarities almost immediately. Because a lot of the characters in that book are based on real people who live lives that are almost accumulative of misery because they seemingly have absolutely nothing better for the world to look ahead to. That's in part what misery does to people. Not only, I mean, we discussed it with Too Far Gone about how some people only can think as far as the next day because situations may be so dire that they can't think any further ahead than that. This, however, is presenting the idea that there is no tomorrow, that the world is coming to an end, and in the other great words of another Metallica song, each man dies by himself, alone. But no, our hero is not to die on this day. He is being rescued. He is going to be brought back to the real world. He is going to feel alive again. Or is he? Because you remember what I spoke of before, ladies and gentlemen, when I said that this is, in my opinion, Metallica's version of Pink Floyd's The Wall. Well, let me tell you something. Do you guys remember how Pink Floyd's The Wall ends? It might not be, and again, small spoilers for if you've never listened to Pink Floyd's The Wall, but Pink Floyd's The Wall ends by Pink coming to the conclusion that he's at last overcome all the hardships and he's let go of all the strifes and all the miseries that his life has become and of all the actions he's done that led him to where he was. And yet, when he feels as if he's finally overcome the wall of his own mind, he steps out into what he believes is the real world, one that is not of his own creation or one that was created for him metaphorically, but he steps out into the real world, seemingly for possibly the first time since his father died, and he steps out and goes, but wait. The implication, ladies and gentlemen, is that he has simply stepped out of one harsh environment and he steps straight into another one with an even larger wall, something that is going to forever be, thank you, something that's ever going to be surrounding him. He will constantly feel trapped no matter where he turns or goes. Now compare this analogy to Inamorata. What if the guy in this video, from his long hair, from his clothing, what if this, and I know this is going to sound like a really big stretch, but what if this guy was supposed to be Jesus Christ? And what if the woman that comes out of nowhere, what if this is meant to be Satan? Because it's largely been theorized that when Jesus was spending his 40 days in the desert, that Satan allegedly visited Jesus and tried to tempt him with all sorts of evils, and is alleged, among other things, to show Jesus to Mount Tibidabo, which is the giant mountain that sort of circles Barcelona. And it's said here that Satan is supposed to have shown Jesus the countries of the earth, hence the name Tibidabo. And what I think is curious about this analogy, about comparing the woman in this to Satan, is the idea is that, yes, they are going away together hand in hand. But we also saw the eagle, or possibly the shadow of an eagle, or even the vulture, like swooping down with arms outstretched wide, ready to pounce. So, and we don't even know where they're going to, or whose arm that was rotted to the bone was in the very end. Was this was this our guy, our hero, putting too much trust into somebody? We know that this guy obviously has issues about wanting to know where he's going in life, or who's going to be there for him, or who's he going to turn to. We spoke about this in Room of Mirrors. Who does this guy turn to when he has problems even confronting himself about the problems in his life? Is he too trusting? Does he put too much stock into people in what they think about him, as opposed to what he thinks about others? Well, maybe, or maybe this isn't true, because even in Inamorata, and this we talked, and this is something that goes on for such a long time, is that misery, she needs me, oh, but I need her more. Misery, she loves me, oh, but I love her more. Misery, she kills me, oh, but I end this war. Misery, she fills me, oh, but wait, she's not what I'm living for. We can clearly see that obviously he was not destined to be in this situation, not destined to be in the place where he is literally going to tear himself apart because his misery, his frame and state of mind has clearly clouded his judgment. And clearly, even being in the desert could possibly be a metaphor for the warped state of his logic, because clearly his actions are based on false beliefs. Because wanting to be miserable, wanting to not put your stock or trust into anybody for the rest of your life is a false belief, because we all have to have somebody to lean on. And I apologize for quoting is it no that wasn't the Eagles. We all need someone to lean on. I don't even, I'm not a big fan of them, but I know it's not the Eagles. It was some other group, the one that did "Lean on Me when you're not strong and I'll be your friend." But again, like I said, was the woman in the end truly our hero's friend, or was it? That's what I think makes this album so incredibly captivating, is that yes, it presents us with the situation that many of us fall into at various stages in life. Who do we trust? Why should we trust them? Who will like us? Who will love us? Who will care for us? Who will be there for us? Can we be there for them? Who do we turn to? Can we turn to ourselves? Do we like us? Do we hate ourselves? Do we truly love us first before we can love somebody else? Who do you trust? Do people trust us? Can we trust them? Will they betray us? Are they who they seem to be? Is the world even real for us? Are we too much for this world? Is this man simply to continue this path for all eternity? Will he walk back into Soledad? Will misery finally end him? Or is this just the end of the battle, and will the war rage on again for eternity? For in the hearts and the shadows and the minds of every mortal man and woman, the world may treat us bad, but that does not mean we can treat the world. And let me emphasize this, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, is that it's not just what happens in the story, and it's not even just what happens to Pink in Pink Floyd's The Wall. Misery and strife and the bad things that happen in so many people's lives happen day after day. It's not just one case fits all. It's going to happen to you. It's going to happen to me. It's going to happen to all of us. For the generations that will grow up to experience the harshness of the real world and all its harmful realities, including those who have yet to be born and those who have lived on this earth before, and he could also recount the tales. But finally, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I think this is possibly the best album Metallica has ever done. I'm not too sure if it's... I think maybe from maybe a more musical standpoint, probably there's a lot more to be said about Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning. Because, and as I've explained many, many times before, Disposable Heroes is perfect in all its aspects. Because it is the only Metallica song that I personally know that has actually brought me to tears, because it opened up a very, very different dynamic about war and about those who even fight in war. 72 seasons didn't necessarily bring me out in a flurry of tears, perhaps, possibly because I know the stanza quite well of what Metallica are trying to communicate in basically every aspect. But the reason why is because, put simply, I've been through it, and I learned to get over it. I learned that if I'm going to, if my fate is not going to be that of wandering about in Soledad, then I have to understand that, you know what, life is nowhere near as cruel, as harsh as it appears to be. Things can get better, but only if we ever choose to make things better. Bad things happen to us, ladies and gentlemen, and there are good things that happen too. But we can't let the bad things stain our minds forever. We should always walk away from these experiences, ladies and gentlemen, not glad that it's been over, but from what we've actually learned. Life is but one long lesson, and it's not about trying to please people about what we know, it's about what we think about what we know. Sometimes in life, ladies and gentlemen, you merely have to do what you think is the right thing to do. And as far as I'm concerned, the biggest thing that I've learned in my 26 years on this earth is that I must strive to do what I believe is the right thing to do, to communicate these thoughts, and to make sure that people understand that as bad as some things may be, and in case you're wondering where you're going in life, there are always better places to go. There are ways to improve your life tenfold, and that's what I think this album communicates better than any others, is that bad things happen. Bad things happen in all directions, but we can also get better. There are glimmers of hope in every shade of life, ladies and gentlemen. And all we have to do is tilt our heads upwards and dream of the day when we walk out of the desert and back into the world of man. And I hope all of you, ladies and gentlemen, have enjoyed 72 seasons. And I cannot wait to talk to you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.